Sober October, Day 16, Powerlessness. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. That's how step 1 of Alcoholics Anonymous describes the alcoholic's main issue with alcohol, powerlessness. This idea of being powerless goes directly against the grain of a society that tells you you can do anything. It also tends to not find a lot of traction in the church, which to me is more related to a misunderstanding of the idea of being powerless. Powerlessness is about our limitations, our lack of ability to do something no matter how hard we try or want it or wish we could do it. We just can't do what we wish we could. Powerlessness is about you on your own, without the help of God and without the help of others, being able to make something happen. In a general sense, we are all powerless over certain things. Personally, I feel like human history supports this. My own experiences support this, and Scripture supports this. Few verses that make this point clear. In Romans 7, Paul says this, "For I know that nothing good dwells in me, that is, in my flesh. For I have the desire to do what is right, but not the ability to carry it out. For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I keep on doing. Now if I do what I do not want, it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells within me." That's Romans 7, 18 through 20. And there's a lot going on in Romans chapter 7. This isn't the place for a complete breakdown. But the gist is, Paul is saying that sometimes, even if you want to do something, you know it's right, you just can't do it. You can't, because you're trying to do it on your own, and you're powerless. The next chapter of Romans goes into trusting God, being empowered by God's Spirit. So we can kind of see how in Romans 7, he's leading into this idea of talking about trusting God by comparing it to what it's like to be self-sufficient, self-reliance, this I can do anything attitude that many of us have. Also, Jesus touches on this when he says, with man, this is impossible. With man, this scenario, this situation is impossible. It's Matthew 19:26. It's impossible for us, meaning we can't do it, meaning we're powerless over making something happen. Is everything impossible? No, but clearly some things are. In general, there are certain things all people are powerless over, and it seems as though there are some things that are particular struggles for each individual. When Paul talks about wrestling with a thorn in his side, in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, it's this image for some personal struggle he has, and it seems to be something particular to him. The point is, we are all powerless over some things, and some people are or become powerless over specific things. For alcoholics and addicts, they'd say they are powerless over alcohol or substances or behaviors that, given the right situation, they will most definitely lose the battle to temptation if they try to tackle it alone. I have an illustration I like to use to describe powerlessness and also acceptance and surrender, which we're going to get to in later podcasts. I like to imagine a car stuck on some train tracks. You're in a car and all of a sudden it just dies. I don't know about you, but I've had cars like this. And it dies right in the middle of some train tracks. Not only that, a train is heading straight towards you on the tracks. This is not a good situation. You try to get the car running again, continually turning the key. Nothing. You bang on the steering wheel, pump the gas, you scream, you freak out. None of that works. The car is stuck. Also, no matter what you do, you can't stop the train. There's literally no stopping a train. Even if a train is approaching at 3 miles per hour, a walking pace, it doesn't matter. It has too much weight and mass and power and momentum. The train is coming, and it's coming no matter what. This illustration captures what powerless really is. No matter what you do, if you stay put in that car, you will get crushed. No matter how hard you try to get the car started, it doesn't matter. And there is nothing you can do to stop a train coming at you. In this situation, you are powerless over what is happening. Much of our life intersects with train tracks like this. And on our own, with all our effort and all our might and our will, we lack the power we need to control, to change, to fix, to avoid certain things in life. The train is coming no matter what. This is powerlessness. Powerlessness is marked by our inability to accept that something is the way it is and our inability to do anything about it. So if you think about the train track illustration, we tell ourselves, you know what? I got this. I just need to try harder, do more, be better, find and learn the secret, and I'm going to get myself out of this. And so, with this attitude, we lean into self reliance and self sufficiency, and at the same time, we deny that any real danger is coming. And so, we disconnect from reality. This is how many of us got into recovery because we didn't approach or even acknowledge our powerlessness. We ignored the consequences. We told ourselves the same lie over and over. Next time is going to be different. And we repeated the same futile actions over and over. And we stayed stuck. And eventually, it caught up with us. What does powerlessness look like in our lives? How do we spot it? We have to ask probing questions like, what's the thing I keep telling myself over and over again that I need to change, but I can't? What's the thing you keep trying to control only to end up driving yourself or others crazy? My favorite, what do you do even though you know it's bad for you or creates more problems? So, do you find yourself turning to alcohol when you believe you shouldn't? Do you find yourself turning to alcohol when you don't necessarily want to, but you do? Is there a feeling that you just can't tolerate that drives you to drink? Do you find yourself automatically thinking about numbing out or escaping when you feel or experience worry, fear, sadness, anger, loneliness, shame, boredom? Is there a situation or circumstance that drives you to numb, escape, and run? Do you feel a lack of control in certain situations where alcohol is present? Do you feel even less once you have alcohol in you? Do you find yourself organizing or planning out your day around alcohol or around putting yourself in situations where you will have less control? Example, taking a certain way home from work that puts you on a course for a certain liquor store that you don't necessarily need to go to, but you always do when you see it. These are questions that reveal powerlessness and a lot of what is going on inside us. Again, I don't diagnose people because I'm just a dude on the internet. But if you find yourself answering yes to these questions, you might have some powerlessness growing inside you regarding alcohol. And you might have a drinking problem. But powerlessness doesn't make you less than or worse than anyone else. In general, we all experience it. We are all limited. We all lack the ability to do certain things. But we also each experience it in different ways, in different situations. And alcohol, for many people, is one of those things. It doesn't make you less than, but it is unique and you do have to address it. Also, powerlessness isn't hopelessness or helplessness. Powerlessness can sound fatalistic, but there's hope. It just has nothing to do with overcoming your stuff on your own. It has nothing to do with more willpower or being better or trying harder or doing more. It actually has to do with acceptance of what is true and letting go of what you can't control. There's hope for getting off the tracks and out of the way of whatever we're powerless over. And it starts with acceptance and surrender, which we'll cover in later podcasts. But we have some other things we need to talk about first. So that is it for today's episode. I hope it gives you some perspective on yourself and your relationship to alcohol. And as always, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.